There's something about doing the same thing twice that I really, really hate. I don't know what it is. Perhaps it's just the curiosity and a desire to try new things all the time. Today is the second day that I'm trying this experiment, this kind of talking to myself, talking to the camera to try to figure out what's going on in my brain, to deal with some of the issues of insecurity and uncertainty and the inability to make a decision, the incessant second guessing, and need to ask, to check, did I lock the door or not? Did I don't know, whatever it may be. Did I turn off the gas? That's a question that I ask myself quite a lot as well, especially when I'm staying by myself, which I am now. So anyway, today is only the second day that I'm trying out this experiment, and there's a lot of reluctance to rehash the things that I said yesterday. And it's important that I acknowledge this because part of the point of this exercise is to rehash the things that I said yesterday, and then tomorrow I'll rehash what I said today, and so on and so forth, until I find what I actually want to say. But if I never repeat myself, which will kind of become impossible at some point in the future because I'm going to run out of things to talk about. But if I never repeat myself, I'm never going to distill and cut away and filter and, well, this would be not titration. I don't know, differentiation? I don't remember what it's called, where you boil something and then the lightest bits rise to the top and then the heavy bits get stuck at the bottom, like what we do with petrol and gas. Anyway, but if I never repeat myself, I'm never going to figure out what I actually want to say. So that's a problem. Because I need to figure out what I want to say. Because if I don't, I'm never going to have a story to tell. Just going to have a series of long, rambling conversations with a camera in which I don't really know what I'm talking about. And yet, I'm using up gigabytes and gigabytes of data and energy and so on to store and make these videos. And you know how people talk about Bitcoin being bad for the environment because of the amount of energy that it uses? Well, as some pro-Bitcoin people have pointed out, how much energy does the world's banking system use compared to Bitcoin? I don't know if anyone's done a calculation of that, but it is something to think about. And then, how much energy does YouTube and Netflix and Vimeo and Hulu and HBO Go or Max or TV or whatever it's calling itself and all these other streaming services, how much energy do all of these use? And people want to complain about Bitcoin? Well, I don't know. I guess it could be argued that these streaming services have more utility than Bitcoin, but my original point is that doing these takes up quite a lot of energy. Maybe not per video, but over time. And then as I send them up to the cloud for backup, and then bring that down again when I want to refer to them for some reason or other. Why am I doing this? What do I want to say? And then, is my reluctance to rehash things, to repeat stories, to tell the same thing again, does that stem from my insecurity and my constant second guessing of myself? Or is it a completely separate issue where I'm just always trying to be fresh and be cool and look for the next cool move and the next, I don't know, funny joke, because I get bored with doing the same thing again and again. I'm not sure. Je ne suis pas sûr. I think that's how you say it. See, I'm not sure. I'm doubting myself again. One thing I wonder, and this is related to what I was talking about yesterday, is whether people ever really get good at writing grant applications. And by good, I don't mean that you write a good application, but you're good here as you write. You start the application, you know what you want to say, you answer the questions, you finish the application, you send it off. Inner peace. Kung Fu Panda style. Does anyone ever actually get good at that? Or is everybody like me, where you write your application and then you're like, maybe I should phrase that differently. Actually, what is this granting body looking for? I think I answered their questions in a way that they'd like, but let me take a look at that again. Ooh, is this a good way to phrase this project that I'm thinking about? Do people like this? The last grant I applied for, obviously they didn't because I no money. So now, what would make this application any different? What happens if I don't get the grant? Do I just keep on keeping on, or then is it time to, and move on? Yeah, a lot of these questions run through my head. I think what I can say with confidence is that the reason why I have so many questions about the things that I do and about how I'm approaching them is because I care about the things that I do. I care about getting a grant or a residency or working on a project because it's important to me. And then the applications that I don't care about, it's like, here's my video CV. If you don't like it, then it's all good. I'm good. You're good. I didn't get it. See you next time. I try not to do that too often because then I kind of feel like I'm cheating myself. I'm wasting everybody's time. And then it's kind of like, if it happens, it's great. If it don't happen, then no problem. Maybe I should apply more grants with this attitude. But it's hard though, because if you care, again, going back to what I was talking about yesterday, like if I'm attracted to a lady and I want to ask her out for dinner, excuse me ma'am, can I take you out for dinner? I would like to get to know you better. If I didn't care, then I wouldn't be asking in the first place. So there's a lot of going on. And it's the same with a grant or a residency, because sometimes these projects are really big deals, Like there are things that if you write the grant the right way, whatever, the grant application for a residency, the project proposal, if you write it the right way and you get the project or the gig and whatever it may be, if it's the right gig, it could change your life. If it's the right lady, just suck it up and ask. It could change your life too. But then you may talk too much and elaborate too much, and then people will be like, after 15 minutes, what in the world is this guy saying? Just, what do you want? And then you start talking again, and then people are just like, oh, come on, next. I wonder if that's happened to me before. It probably has. One of the reasons why I talk so much, I realized, is because I'm perpetually giving caveats and explanations to my explanations, which are explanations to my explanations in the first place. Because nowadays, in this world of being politically correct and sensitive to the right racial and ethnic and social cultural and I don't know what other groups there are, it's a little bit difficult and everything kind of needs a caveat. So instead of just saying what I want to say, I'm trying to explain how my perspective is not actually trying to offend anybody. I'm not making something to exclude a particular group. I'm making something because I'm interested in it and I see value in it. And whether you want to come along for the ride or not is entirely up to you. But so much time and energy gets spent doing this that I just don't know what I'm saying anymore half the time. And then I go on and I ramble and I talk and it's like, where did I even start? And then I think to myself, well, if the lady doesn't like what I'm saying, if these granting bodies don't like what I'm proposing, then never mind. You know? Let them be offended and I will move on and find another way to do what I want to do, to tell the stories that I want to tell, to, I don't know, be the person that I want to be, the sort of street dancer, sort of contemporary dancer, choreographer. Really? Am I a choreographer who talks too much and then I'm going to talk about a slip of the keyboard again, which I brought up yesterday, about how, well, yesterday I brought up how humor can sneak in through the keyhole while big picture idea is still going, let me in, let me in. Humor is even having a cup of tea while you're still banging away at the door. Okay, that's not what I'm going to talk about today. Today, the thing that stood out for me that's quite reassuring is that artists, the word artist, like Terry Pratchett, often finds himself in situations of, I don't know what's going on either. He says that it takes him about halfway through a first draft to figure out the story that he's trying to tell, the characters who are actually important to the story and so on. Up till that halfway mark through that first draft, give or take, everything is like a, huh? Well, to me, like everything from the beginning until the end is a, huh? But at least after the beginning, I have a little bit more direction. And then after that, it's draft and draft and draft and draft and draft again. And then I kind of get attached to whatever it is I've made and unwilling to throw away something when I really should, or put things in a new order. It takes so much intestinal fortitude to make a simple decision like that, even though that it'll be better for the work, but yeah, hold on to things too tightly, to the hope of the grant, or the lady saying, yeah, let's go for dinner, before I've even asked the question or submitted the grant. I have things out of order in my head, where in a way things have already happened. I already have this great piece that I've made. I already have the lady's hand in mind. I already have the grant or the residency or the project. And I'm holding on to all these things before I've even asked the question or before I've even started working on the work. Are little images and emotions flashing through my mind. I was reading about this in another book by Stephen Kotler. It's a pretty new book. It's called The Art of the Impossible. And I don't really remember what he said about these end goal things. But then there's this, well, okay, first there's the end goal. I tend to skew towards the end goal, and then I don't look at all the little steps that need to be taken along the way. It's hard because the end goal is like, you hang on to it even though you haven't actually got it yet. It's something nice to hang on to. It's nice to like curl up in a corner and hold your pillow. No pillow now. Be like, yeah, this sounds like a good idea. It's nice, it's comfortable, it's nostalgic, it's melancholic, it's, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But it's not helpful. And I tend to do this thing a lot, like hold on to this idea. And the other thing that they talked about is attaching emotions to ideas as they enter your brain. The idea enters my brain and I attach an emotion to it, and then I go, ah. When in practice, apparently, according to this, The Art of the Impossible book, what you should be trying to do is, when a thought comes in, you need to grab that thought and kind of put it in its correct place, wherever that may be, on a timeline or in a value scale or in a pie chart or Venn diagram, or Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I almost said Maslow's pyramid of food. What did I want to say? You need to grab that thought and put it in its place before you start sticking emotions to it. Because if something comes in, you're like, yeah, this person really pissed me off, and then you get caught up in the emotion, and emotion, this part of the book doesn't really talk about. This is just my way of thinking about it. Emotion then just kind of floods the brain and shuts down all your critical thinking faculties because you're stuck on whatever it is emotional trip that you've started, and then there goes your day. And so I come back to the question of, what am I doing here? how do I get over this habit, this characteristic, this pattern of thinking and doubting and wondering if what I'm doing is the correct thing to do? With some things it's simple, like checking the gas or making sure the door is locked. I know it doesn't matter which hand, right or left doesn't make me smarter. I know that I just need to pay attention. I need to look at the door and go, it's locked, move on with your life. Or, gas is off, I'm not gonna blow up in the middle of the night. But when it comes to big things like starting a new project and trying to explore things, trying to become the storyteller that I would like to become, how do I stop thinking about it and just do it? We'll see how it goes.